Hi guys, my name's Tess and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the magic jelly bead experiment. For this experiment we'll be using Orbeez, a tablespoon measure, a few containers to keep the water and the Orbeez in while they're soaking, salt, sugar, and Skittles, and then our chart to record our data on. In our first container, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of water in and 1 bead. In our second container, we're going to put 1 Skittle, 1 bead, and a tablespoon of water. In our third container, I've put approximately 10 drops of water into it, and then I'm going to put 1 bead in and a pinch of salt. And in our fourth container, we're going to do the same 10 drops of water, 1 bead, and a pinch of sugar. I've laid my containers out in order of which one I made first so that I don't forget which container has what ingredients in it. The specific brand of jelly beans I got told me to wait 2 hours until they were fully developed, so now we will wait and see what happens. Alright guys, so I've taken the beads out and I've filled out my chart. So let's go through and talk about what happened with each one. Test number 1 grew pretty big. It was clear in the water, and so it was cool that you weren't able to see it in there. Test number 2 is the one that we did with the Skittle in it, and you can see that there's a little bit of a green hue on it. So that's super cool. That means that the color got absorbed as the bead grew and it was absorbing that water. Test number 3 is the one we did with a pinch of salt and only 10 drops of water, and he only grew about half as much as the other beads, and so that was pretty interesting to see how small he was after we pulled him out. And then test number 4 was the 10 drops of water with the pinch of sugar, and he grew even a little bit bigger than test number 1, so that was pretty cool to see the difference between test number 3 and test number 4. You can see that we still have test number 5 to do. We had to wait for test number 1 to be done so we could use that bead. So let's go grab another container and get started with that one. Alright, here we go with test number 5. Like the instructions said, I put another 10 drops of water into my container. I'm going to put a pinch of salt. And then let's take this one that's already been put in the water and we'll drop it in. And we'll wait and see what happens in a couple hours. Alright guys, so I've pulled test number 5 out. I actually let this one sit overnight just because it was getting a little bit late when I put it in. But I was surprised to find that when I pulled it out of its test tube, it had actually shrunk. And so that was pretty interesting to see, and you can compare that to test number 3, who only got half as big as the other ones, and you can see that they both had the salt in them, so that's interesting. I'd call this a pretty successful science experiment. I really enjoyed myself. It was fun seeing how each individual bead had such different results. I have a few things that I want to try out. So with my remaining Orbeez, I think I'm going to try if different Skittles give different levels of color, or depending on how much salt I put in, how much it grows. There's a lot of different things you can do, a lot of different variations of these lists of ingredients that we have for you, and I'm excited to see what I learned through the process.